I am Sandy Steinman, president of Background Checks Express, your one-stop source for accurate, accessible, and affordable background checking. Criminal background checks and their use in hiring decisions still seems to be the focus of the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. It apparently is not enough that background checking is controlled by the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Now we need the EEOC involved in our hiring process. As a small government kind of guy, my first instinct is to tell them to get their nose out of who I hire and what my hiring criteria is. However, in the real world, the EEOC can become a problem for employers who utilize criminal background checks in their hiring process. And that's frightening. And make no mistake, their long-term intent is to keep employers from looking at criminal records at all. So let's start by looking at why the EEOC is so focused on employers who are simply trying to protect their company by performing criminal background checks and keeping the bad guys out. I mean, that's an employer's job. Then we'll look at what employers can do to protect themselves. The interest by the EEOC in your hiring process is nothing new. In the late 80s and the early 90s, they issued several policy statements on the issue. Then in 2012, they updated their guidance. In that latest guidance, they discussed the fact there have been significant increases in the number of Americans who have, in their words, had contact with the criminal justice system. That's another way of saying we have more criminals out there, and that's even more reason for employers to utilize criminal background checks in their hiring process. But of course, the EEOC and their infinite wisdom has a different view. They view these statistics through a racial looking glass. They report that if current trends continue, 1 out of 3 African Americans will serve prison time. The trend will see 1 in 6 Hispanics and 1 in 17 Caucasians. Well, wait, you say, I know the answer. Stop committing crimes, people, and that won't be a problem. But of course, the EEOC says that the use of criminal background checks by American employers will have a disparate impact on minorities in general and African Americans in particular. While there's no federal law at this point which keeps employers from basing hiring decisions on an applicant's criminal record, the EEOC has made it clear they're declaring war on businesses who use criminal background checks in their hiring. They filed 3 federal lawsuits to date. They don't have any wins, but that's not going to stop them. After all, they're playing the game with an unlimited amount of money, our money to be specific. And there have been a number of states and municipalities that have adopted what they call fair chance statutes. These statutes really don't prohibit employers from using criminal background checks, but they do set out guidelines as to when in the hiring process they can be utilized, and I can live with that, and I think you can too. Well, what's the solution for employers other than taking our country back from big intrusive government, which is not likely to happen anytime soon? First, people involved in the hiring process must be knowledgeable about the laws that are in existence in the state they operated in, and they must be sure their background checking partners are equally aware and in compliance with these laws. Next, hiring policy should contain an individualized assessment of each applicant's criminal background history and make hiring decisions weighing the results of the criminal background checks with the duties and responsibilities of the specific job being filled. And it's vital that employers document adverse decisions and maintain that documentation in their corporate records. That type of approach would fall much more in line with what the EEOC is trying to enforce and could well keep you from becoming a defendant in one of their actions. If you're an employer, I hope you'll follow this series of videos, because what you learn here could well keep you out of court or help you to avoid hiring the wrong person, and that's our mission. If you want to learn more about background checking or want to find out how you can keep the EEOC from your door, just feel free to call me at 844-SCREEN-NOW. That's 844-727-3366. Or email me at sandy@backgroundchecksexpress.com. In the meanwhile, please be safe, hire safe, and I'll see you in the next video.